In the news this week, Westminster is to lift all legal restrictions on communal worship in England from July 19th. Costs for the Scottish Government's controversial hate crime bill are set to top £1 million. And we speak to Heidi Crowter and her mum Liz after the High Court heard their case arguing that the UK's abortion law discriminates against people with Down syndrome. Hello. Boris Johnson has confirmed the government will lift legal restrictions on communal worship in England from Monday the 19th of July. While guidance has not yet been published, Johnson said the government will stick to our plan to lift legal restrictions and to lift social distancing. It confirms Health Secretary Sajid Javid's previous announcement there would be no restrictions on communal worship or singing from the 19th. In the rest of the UK, restrictions are being eased, but not removed entirely. But in England, it brings them to an end, after they were introduced at the beginning of the pandemic nearly 16 months ago. When churches have been allowed to open, there has been a legal requirement to wear face masks, and congregations have been advised not to sing. The Institute's Kieran Kelly said Christians across the country will welcome this big step towards the gathered worship they remember from pre-COVID times. Crimes committed by males who identify as females are being recorded as offences by women, it has been revealed. At least 16 police forces are logging crimes according to the perpetrator's gender identity instead of their biological sex. The data is then shared with the Home Office and contributes to official statistics. Zoe Watts, a man previously called Kyle, was recently imprisoned for offences including the possession of illegal weapons and constructing a bomb. But Lincolnshire Police, which previously employed Watts, recorded his crimes as being committed by a woman because of his self-declared gender identity. Tonya Antoniazzi MP, who has raised the issue in Parliament, said statistics based only on self-identified gender were unreliable and potentially misleading. The High Court recently ruled that in England and Wales it is lawful to allow men who identify as women to be housed with female prisoners, despite the significant impact it can have on the women affected. Implementation of the Scottish Government's controversial hate crime bill looks set to cost at least £1.2 million, a Freedom of Information request has revealed. The Institute-backed campaign group Free to Disagree obtained documents detailing estimated costs in excess of £1.16 million, but the Scottish Government refused to provide additional figures for campaign marketing or total costs. Free to Disagree spokesman Jamie Gillis called the Scottish Government's refusal to release all the figures disappointing. Scottish taxpayers are footing the bill for this legislation. They have the right to know. And finally, earlier this month, the High Court heard the case brought by Down syndrome campaigners seeking to change the law that allows babies with the condition to be aborted up to birth. A ruling is not expected for some time, but the Institute's Kieran Kelly spoke to one of the campaigners, Heidi Crowter, and her mum Liz about the significance of the hearing.
Just remind everyone why it is that you've gone to court.
So the reason why I've gone to court is that because I'm someone who has Down syndrome and I will not tolerate this discrimination. And at the moment, the law of the land is that a baby without Down syndrome can be aborted up to 24 weeks, but a baby with Down syndrome can be aborted up to birth, which is not on.
And this is a big thing. To go to court is a big thing to do, and you've had to raise funding. I imagine that it can't have been terribly easy. Why is this so important to you?
I want people to see me behind the X chromosome. Yeah, I want them to just, when they look at me, just look at Heidi, not the chromosome.
Liz, if I can just turn to you for a minute. Claire Murphy, she's the head of the abortion giant BPAS, British Pregnancy Advisory Service. She says that the law shouldn't change because there's so few abortions on grounds of Downs. How would you respond to that?
Discrimination is discrimination, whether it's one baby or 1,000 babies being discriminated against. If you replace Down syndrome with girl, and you found that 30 girls were aborted right up to birth, you wouldn't allow that because it's discrimination. So if you say 30 babies with Down syndrome were aborted up to birth, then that's discrimination, however many it is.
Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.